What was memorable to me about the play was the fact that Pantheus was killed by his own mom in such a brutal way, and obviously with the other Maenads, but that really just hit home, how she just tore his arm off, and she was the first one to strike him when they attacked. That just kind of stuck with me, and the fact that it was so brutal. And three major points of tension. I think the first major point was at the beginning when Pantheus would refuse to accept Dionysus as a god. And then the second point was when Pantheus arrests Dionysus. And then the third point is when Dionysus orders Pantheus to get killed. And these are significant in the meaning of the play, because the meaning of the play is basically don't disrespect the gods, and to realize that there's always someone or something out there that's more important or bigger than you are in a religious standpoint, from a religious standpoint. And the Maenads are women who were depicted as living in the forest and being like one with the animals, and at first they were depicted as just being drunken people who go out and have sex. But when the first messenger comes back to talk to Pantheus, he says they weren't drunk at all, but they were sleeping, and then they woke up and they started doing like miracles with the earth, where they would touch a rock and water would sprout out, or they'd scratch the ground and milk would come out. And but the fact that these women, that they were hunting and stuff, shows the way they were like portrayed or described or treated in Greek society. Like they weren't supposed to be going out there and hunting or fornicating with everybody like the men could, and they were supposed to be like lesser than the men. And this play's about, like I kind of said earlier, you have to respect the gods. There's always someone out there, something out there that's going to be bigger than you are, and you just can't get too prideful, or else it could be your downfall. And it's still relevant today because there's still religion around, and everybody in most religions, you're taught to not so much fear God, but fear what could happen if you don't accept him. And then the cover with Elvis is this. He's on the cover because Dionysus was basically Elvis. Elvis represents sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and that's what Dionysus was all about, except for the rock and roll part. And so that's why I feel like he'd be a good character to represent this story.